One Piece chapter 977 is out, and that was a good chapter. I have a lot to talk about, some positives, some negatives, and some expectations moving forward. My favourite thing about this chapter is probably the comedy and the light-heartedness coming from the Straw Hats, and just the vibe of the chapter as a whole. I feel like it's a fitting way for these characters that we know to head to war. Knowing Luffy, knowing the Straw Hats, they aren't going to burden themselves with being serious and acting completely nonchalant just because they're going to war. The Straw Hats are a band of pirates that will always express themselves how they like, and this was a great showing of that. The chapter started off with a wholesome page of all the Straw Hats jumping on Jinbei and hugging him, which is extremely cool for me to see, and I'm super glad he's getting such a warm welcome because I love Jinbei, he's one of my favourite characters, and then he goes on to quickly explain why he took so long to return. He apologises for his tardiness and says that he needed to carry the wounded Sun Pirates and then he had a goodbye party. Now, I didn't like this. I feel like we needed much more exposition on what actually happened back at Toverland. How did they truly escape Big Mom, and why is Jinbei unscathed? There's more questions than just, did you get away or didn't you? I need to know more. And at this point I don't know if we're ever going to get that exposition. I look forward to when Jinbei and Big Mom butt heads later on in the war, and perhaps we get it then. But for now, I don't expect it anytime soon, which is pretty unfortunate because I feel like that needs to be cleared up before going into the war, because right now Big Mom's portrayal is garbage. Franky and Jinbei have a cool interaction, and I expect them to be like a little duo in the crew moving forward, considering, you know, shipwright and helmsman. Those two roles in the crew probably interact a lot, and they already have that kind of chemistry. They're all happy, and unfortunately they don't have any alcohol, so my boy Zoro is unhappy. And then we move on to the strategy, or the plan, which was obviously delivered by none other than Trafalgar Law. Sicilian and Hyogoro included themselves in listening to the plan, considering Sicilian is going to lead the Minks during the war, and Hyogoro is going to lead the Samurai during the war. The scans for the chapter that I'm reading, they aren't fantastic, so it was a bit hard to understand the plan, but this is what I got from it. Onigashima is like a fortress in the sense that it is lined with mountains, and the only way to enter is to pass through the front gates. There's a large skull inside the mountain, and within said skull is a castle, and that's where Kaido, Big Mom, Orochi are going to be at. That's where they're going to be partying and celebrating. However, there's a passage in the back of the castle, and that's where the Alliance are going to try to head to. The Alliance are going to divide their strengths into two, which I guess means split their forces into two and try to enter the castle by that secret passage. So they're going to pass through on both sides. One will go on the right flank of Onigashima and one half will go on the left flank, and then they're going to try to go through, and the plan is to attack Kaido while he's drunk, which is definitely a smart plan, and I like this because this is what needs to be done. They need to catch Kaido whilst he's drunk, and that would explain how they can defeat a Yonko who has 8 times their forces and is overwhelmingly powerful to them in comparison. My main gripe with this was like, why didn't anybody care about Kanjuro? Kanjuro just escaped. Isn't he going to inform them of the plan? Isn't he going to inform them that everybody's alive? And this was thankfully addressed by Denjiro, who smartly points out that this can't be the real plan since Kanjuro probably knows all about this. What is the real plan? Kinemon's face here is fucking hilarious because he's in awe and shock at Denjiro's thinking, and we just have Raizo behind him just whispering in his ear, mocking him, and it's just hilarious. We then move on, and Law basically says, whatever plan you make, there's always going to be those 2 idiots up front, and the change we're going to make to the plan is that these 2 idiots are going to serve as bait. Now everybody, at least on Twitter, everyone I spoke to automatically assumed that Law was referencing Kid and Luffy, and this is very possible. He could be talking about Kid and Luffy. However, I don't think Law has that relationship with Kid, or even knows Kid well enough to be, 1, calling him an idiot in the first place, and 2, saying that he will be at the front of the Alliance serving as that idiot. Law doesn't know Kid well enough for that kind of judgment, which is why I think he could be talking about Luffy and Zoro. Regardless, one thing that is certain is that one of these idiots is definitely Luffy, and whoever accompanies Luffy, whether it be Kid or Zoro, they're gonna serve as bait alongside Luffy so that the rest of the Alliance can advance their troops on both sides, on both flanks, just as intended. The Scabbards in particular will get to the war zone by travelling underwater with Law in his submarine, bypassing the whirlpools by traveling underwater, and then Law will use his devil fruit, he will use his room ability to transport them into Onigashima. So that is it, the plan is finalized, and then we get another fucking hilarious panel of Kinemon looking so stupid. I've actually come to like him a lot more after the past couple of chapters because, I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of Kinemon, but these last few chapters do have me enjoying him more than I was before. Denjiro applauds him for being a fantastic leader, which is just hilarious because we and Raizo know that he isn't actually the reason for things going so smoothly at all. Kinemon has just been super lucky, and Raizo's face in this panel is golden. He is on Kinemon's case. Of course though, these guys have just finished planning and the Straw Hats have disappeared. Who would have thought? Straw Hats have already landed on the shore of Onigashima and there's explosions at the port, and Denjiro remembers that he hasn't informed the alliance of the Guardians, the soldiers that defend the entrance to Onigashima in a tiny fortress in front of the entrance. And they spend their time celebrating for the Fire Festival there instead and keeping watch of Onigashima's gates. Of course though, these guys are fodder and the Straw Hats obliterate them. Nothing in particular to mention here on these 2 pages, it's just the Straw Hats like practically not even trying, just destroying these guys. And one thing that is kind of cool that I'm going to mention is that Zoro was in fact using Enma with no difficulty, just like it's any ordinary sword, just like it was Shusui. So I'm guessing it's fair to say he has mastered the blade. Oh, and we also have the weak trio, Chopper, Nami and Usopp, just looking at everybody else fighting and just, yeah, being a meme. I've got to say, I don't mind this because it gives those light-hearted Straw Hat vibes that I love. But Usopp, man, Usopp really needs to kind of stray from this weak trio because the end of the series is nearing and I expect some immense character development or progression even in this arc. I want Usopp to be a full-fledged brave warrior of the sea when he meets his father Yasopp, which is, you know, it could be really soon. It could be in a couple arcs after Wano. It could be the next arc after Wano. Who knows? We get a cool little spread of Luffy, Jinbei, Sanji, Zoro, Brook, Frankie and Robin just sitting on the bodies of the guys they just obliterated. Zoro has this huge fucking smile that I love, holding a case of alcohol, which obviously made him super happy. And they pour up and celebrate Jinbei joining the crew. We have Luffy holding a cup of alcohol, drinking alcohol. Luffy, the guy who never drinks, drinking. And I guess the captain's coat and drinking alcohol is Oda's way of telling us that Luffy is growing up rapidly and he's shaping up to be a true pirate. And I don't know how to feel about this. Seeing Luffy drink is something so small that doesn't really matter, but it's like, it's still huge because it's something you'd never expect. That's like Sanji using his hands to fight. Well, not on that scale, but it's something you'd never expect from Luffy. The rest of the alliance see the Straw Hat's strength and admire them, of course, and we get another cool panel of Zoro smiling, and I'm gonna cherish these panels because my boy hasn't smiled in a very long time. Kid is the only guy who didn't admire the Straw Hat's performance of power because he's obviously trying to compete with them, and he hits them with the "we won't let anyone take Kaido's head in our place." So I guess everybody is fighting for the treasure that is Kaido's head. Killer has his trademark blue and white mask back on him, but he's still laughing because of the effects of the smile. He's still going fa fa fa, so that's there. And we get a cool panel of Kid's ship, and like I said in my 975 review, Kid's ship looks dope. And Luffy's like to Jinbei, yo, catch up to these guys. Show them how good you are at being a helmsman. And I just love this. I love the vibes, I love the competition, the lightheartedness, and it's like the perfect calm before the storm because we all know everything is going crazy in the next few chapters. Then it happens. We get some wild shit. We get Queen dancing and asking for red bean soup. That was fucking wild. No, not that. We get Kaido asking where his son is. I'm gonna repeat that for you guys. Kaido asked where his son is. His son. Kaido has a son. Kaido has a son and his son is present on Onigashima right fucking now. Holy shit, this guy must be a monster. I am really excited to see how this guy looks. I'm gonna make a separate video talking about the potential for this son because right now it's too much to discuss in this review. There are so many possibilities. His son could be like a 5-year-old for all we know. But yeah, the Flying Six appear, demanding an audience, which is pretty impressive of them, I guess, because it says a lot about them. And then Kaido says he wants Lin Lin to see them first. So I'm guessing they're that impressive that they demand an audience of 2 Yonko. Of course, that's not what they demand. They're still subordinates of Kaido, but it's like their presence is that impressive. Then we get their feet. Oda is getting really inventive with the hype building. First it was silhouettes, now we're getting feet. Next he's gonna start giving us hand slips. And yeah, two of these feet, like two of these pairs of feet, obviously belong to X Drake and Page 1. But we get a guy at the front who could perhaps be their leader, and he's a character we've never seen before because he has a sword, a katana, with a beautiful scabbard that looks like it has petals on it that I'm looking forward to see coloured. I'm excited for this. This guy could be a badass. Perhaps he's one of Zoro's fights in this arc, because I need Zoro fighting a strong swordsman in the arc. King is a swordsman, but he flies and has fire related abilities. I want Zoro to fight a samurai type of swordsman. Regardless, this was a lot to swallow, especially that Kaido's son stuff, because that is an enormous revelation. Like, I know some guys, some Katakuri fans are going crazy right now, but I don't think it's Katakuri. We'll see. That's it for this chapter review. Like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more One Piece content. Comment below your thoughts on the chapter, as well as videos you would like to see me make in the future. I'm going to make a lot of videos based off of this chapter over the course of this week. I have been Fiji. See you when chapter 978 drops, which is not next week, by the way. Shonen Jump is on break. We're getting the next chapter on the 24th, I'm guessing. 2 Fridays from now we're getting the chapter, well, at least the leaks. The actual chapter is dropping obviously 2 Sundays from now, which is the 26th, I'm pretty sure. Regardless, I'm gonna see you when chapter 978 drops. I've been Fiji. Peace.